Welcome to Do the Math America. I am Charlene Math Shaman.
This is Lesson 11, Dividing Integers. I work out of the Beginning Algebra book, pages 19 and 20. Please use the link in the description box below this video for the PDF file of this textbook, which you may use to print out a hard copy for yourself. Lessons 7 through 47 of my video series comes from this book. This book is out of print and not available for purchase otherwise. As with my previous videos, I will animate the lesson and the examples for you. Dividing integers. Rules for dividing any two integers, a and b. The dividend divided by the divisor equals the quotient. So for example, 8 divided by 4 equals 2. 8 is the dividend, 4 is the divisor, and 2 is the quotient. Here are the several ways to indicate division. We have the division sign with a line and 2 dots above and below, sideways L sign, 8 over 4 with a line between, 8/4. 8 times 1/4 also is 8 divided by 4, as is 1/4 times 8. Also another way of indicating 8 divided by 4. All of these equations equal 2. Don't worry too much about the fraction 1/4 times 8 or 8 times 1/4. We will discuss that in greater detail in my later video lessons from lesson 20 to 25. Moving on, if a and b have the same sign, then the quotient is positive. If b does not equal 0, then a over b equals a over b, or the fraction a over b equals a divided by b, but b cannot equal 0 because you cannot divide a number by 0. Negative a divided by negative b equals positive a over b. So let's look at some number examples. 8 divided by 4 equals 2. Negative 8 divided by negative 2 equals positive 4. If a and b have opposite signs, then the quotient is negative. So let's take a closer look at this. If b does not equal 0, because as I said before, you cannot divide a number by 0, a divided by negative b equals negative a over b. That is, the quotient is negative. And negative a divided by positive b also is a negative quotient of a over b. So for example, 8 divided by negative 2 equals negative 4, and negative 8 divided by positive 2 also equals negative 4. Distributive property. If c does not equal 0, then a plus b, all divided by c, equals a divided by c plus b divided by c. And a minus b, all divided by c, equals a divided by c minus b divided by c. I know this all seems very confusing right now, but it will become clearer as we do practice problems. Division is not commutative and associative. Now, these are a lot of unfamiliar words which you may find very confusing, and we will use variables a, b, c to represent numbers to describe what commutative and associative means. So a divided by b does not equal b divided by a. And that is what we mean by division is not commutative. When we say division is not associative, we mean a divided by b first and then divided by c does not equal first taking b divided by c, the quotient of that, dividing that back into a. So what does this all mean when it comes to numbers? When we look at division is not commutative, we mean that, for example, 8 divided by 4 does not equal 4 divided by 8, because 8 divided by 4 equals 2, and 4 divided by 8 equals 1/2. 4 divided by 8 equals 1/2 we will look at in greater detail in my later videos. Meanwhile, back to division not being associative, 8 divided by 4 first and then divided by 2 does not equal first dividing 4 divided by 2 and then taking that quotient, dividing that back into 8. So in the first example, 8 divided by 4 equals 2, and then we bring down the division sign and we bring down 2 to the next line to continue the problem, and then we have 2 divided by 2, which equals 1. So 8 divided by 4 divided by 2 equals 1. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side of the equation, first we do the division within the parentheses. 4 divided by 2 equals 2, and then we go back in, bringing down the rest of the equation to get 8 divided by 2, which equals 4. So the left-hand side of the equation equals 1, which does not equal the right-hand side of the equation, which equals 4. All this is to say that if there are multiple numbers involved in a division problem, it does matter what order you do the division in. This will make more sense to you when you start doing some practice problems. 0 divided by any number a equals 0. However, any number a divided by 0 is undefined, which is a mathematical way to say that you cannot divide by 0, or division by 0 is not allowed. Okay, let's look at some examples. 8 divided by 2 equals 4. Negative 8 divided by negative 2 also equals 4, that is positive 4. 8 divided by negative 2 equals negative 4, and negative 8 divided by positive 2 also equals negative 4. In the first two examples, the dividend and divisor have the same signs. In the first one, they're both positive, and then the second, they're both negative. Therefore, the quotient is positive. The next two examples, the dividend and divisors have different signs. Therefore, the quotient is negative. 0 divided by 8 equals 0. But 8 divided by 0 is undefined. Anytime you divide a number by 0, it is undefined. For the equation 8 divided by negative 4 times 10, you work that problem from left to right. So first, 8 divided by negative 4 equals negative 2. You bring down the rest of the equation on the next line, times 10. So now you look at negative 2 times 10, which equals negative 20. And then we box our answer. You need 60 eggs. Each box contains 12 eggs. How many boxes should you buy? With word problems, it always helps to first write down the facts of the problem. So we have 60 eggs that are needed, and each box contains 12 eggs. So we write down 12 eggs in each box. To figure out how many boxes we should buy, we would take 60 eggs needed divided by 12 eggs in each box. So in this case, I will assign x as being equal to the number of boxes I need to buy. So then I have x equals 60 eggs needed divided by 12 eggs in each box, or 60 divided by 12. I do that calculation on the side, 60 divided by 12. When I do division, I like to write down all the multiples of the divisor. Work those calculations out separately. 12 times 1 equals 12. 12 times 2 equals 24. 12 times 3 equals 36. 12 times 4 equals 48. And 12 times 5 I work out to be 60. So now I've reached my dividend, which was 60. So 12 times 5 equals 60, which means 60 divided by 12 equals 5. So x equals 5, or I need to buy 5 boxes, each of those boxes containing 12 eggs to get 60 eggs. I write that out. You need 5 boxes, and I box my answer. Roger worked 40 hours last week. He earned $240. How much does he earn per hour? We start by writing out the facts of the problem: 40 hours of work and $240 earned. I will make y equals the amount of money or dollars earned per hour of work. And if you will recall earlier when I was talking about different ways to indicate division, one of the signs was the slash. The slash can be used in place of the word per. So dollars earned per hour can be written as dollars per hour, or dollars slash hour, or dollars divided by hour. In this problem, the question is, how much does Roger earn per hour? So we would set up the equation as $240 divided by 40 hours, or $240 per 40 hours of work. So the slash dollars slash hour means the same thing as dollars divided by hour, or $240 divided by 40 hours. And I write that equation on the side, 240 divided by 40. When both your dividend and divisor have a 0 at the end of the number, you can simplify by crossing out those zeros because they cancel each other, which makes the problem easier to solve as 24 divided by 4, which equals 6. So Roger earned $6 per hour. Always write the units of your answer. In this case, it's $6 per hour, and I write that out as a sentence and box my answer. 900 yearbooks are packaged in 60 cartons. How many yearbooks are in each carton? Once again, I write down the facts of the problem. There are 900 yearbooks in 60 cartons. You can think of this as 900 yearbooks per 60 cartons. So I will make Z equals the number of yearbooks in each carton, or number of yearbooks per carton. And I write that out as number of yearbooks slash carton, or number of yearbooks divided by the number of cartons. So that Z equals yearbooks divided by cartons. So then the equation would be Z equals 900 yearbooks divided by 60 cartons. And that calculation, 900 divided by 60, I do on the side. I write that down nice and clearly, 900 divided by 60. And again, I can see that the 0 at the end of the divisor can be canceled out by the 0 at the end of the dividend, which makes the equation 90 divided by 6 an easier equation to solve than 900 divided by 60. 90 divided by 6 gets you the same answer as 900 divided by 60. So 6 goes into 9 one time. 6 times 1 equals 6. I subtract, I get 3, bring down the 0. 6 goes into 35 times, so I end up with 15 as a quotient. So the answer is 15 yearbooks per carton. And I box my answer. In a fundraising program, a class has planned to sell 720 Christmas cards. There are 12 volunteers to sell the cards. How many cards must each student sell? So write down the facts of the problem: 720 Christmas cards, 12 volunteers. I will make N equal the number of Christmas cards sold by each student volunteer, which we can think of as number of cards to sell per student, or number of cards to sell slash student, which is the same as number of cards to sell divided by student. So N equals 720 cards divided by 12 students. Our equation then is 720 divided by 12. I write that equation on the side, giving myself plenty of space to do work. I start by writing down the multiples of my divisor, 12. So 12 times 1 equals 12. 12 times 2 equals 24. 12 times 3 equals 36. 12 times 4 equals 48. 12 times 5 equals 60. 12 times 6 equals 72. And I now see that I have reached the number that would match my dividend. So 72 divided by 12 equals 6. 12 times 6 equals 72. I subtract. I bring down the 0. And then I take that 0 up to the quotient line to get 60. So 720 divided by 12 equals 60. N equals 60 cards to be sold per student. If you choose, it's a good idea to write your answer out in a sentence so that you can think about whether the answer you got matches the question that was asked in the problem. Each student must sell 60 cards. That makes sense, and I box my answer. A player scored a total of 1,692 points in 47 games. What is his average points per game? I write down the facts of the problem: 1,692 total points, 47 games. So I need to find his average points per game, which can be written as average points slash game. And we can think of that as average points divided by the number of games. So I will make P equal the average points per game, which I will write as average points slash game, which we can think of as average points divided by game, or points divided by game. So that would make the equation P equals 1,692 points divided by 47 games. The equation we have to solve would be 1,692 divided by 47. I write that equation on the side, giving myself plenty of space between each digit. And I like to write down the multiples of the divisor on the side, and I will do those calculations in the space below. Some people like to use a guess and check method to figure out division problems, but I find it's more efficient actually, and I make fewer mistakes when I take the time to calculate all the multiples of the divisor before I start my division problem. So I find the multiples from 1 through 9. And the other benefit of taking the time to do these side calculations is that you become more proficient with multiplication, and it reinforces your ability to recall the times tables accurately and quickly. All these skills require practice, and the more you practice, the better you get at it, and pretty soon you find that, well, you're just good at math. And it has nothing to do with being genius. It just has to do with taking the time to reinforce these skills. And it goes without saying, it's important to check your work as you do these side calculations to make sure you do these calculations correctly. Because if you get these side calculations wrong, then your division problem answer will also be wrong. Which is to say, you should double check your work as you go, make sure those numbers make sense to you, and as you study this more, you will find that you have a better understanding of numbers in general, which allows you to register mistakes as they are being made, and you make your corrections accordingly. Always assume that since you are a human, not AI, you will make mistakes. So it's not a bad idea to check your work, and don't be discouraged or surprised to see when you do make mistakes. And of course, correct them and you'll be good to go. So now I'm ready to do the division problem. Now that I've done the multiples from 1 through 9 of the divisor. And 47 goes into 169 3 times. I write the 3 above the 9 on the quotient line. And 47 times 3 equals 141. I write that down below 169, and I do the subtraction, which works out to be 28. So 28 is less than 47. I've done that correctly. I bring down the next digit of the dividend. So now it's 282 divided by 47. 47 goes into 282 exactly 6 times. I write that down. 282, subtract, I get 0. So now the answer is 36. P equals 36 points per game. I write that on the line below my problem. And now I am ready to write the answer as a sentence. Player averaged 36 points per game. I think about it. Does that make sense for the problem? Yes, it does, so I box my answer. If your heart beats 25 times in 20 seconds, how many times does your heart beat in 1 minute? I write down the facts of the problem. 25 beats per 20 seconds, or 25 beats slash 20 seconds. So the question I have to answer is, how many times does your heart beat in 1 minute? So I will make B equals number of heartbeats per 1 minute. So this isn't a straightforward division problem. You think about it. 1 minute equals 60 seconds. I write that down as another fact of the problem. Gives me something more to think about. 1 minute equals 60 seconds. So if my heart beats 25 times in 20 seconds, how many times does my heart beat in 60 seconds? So I will write that down as 25 beats over 20 seconds, or 25 beats divided by 20 seconds. And that would equal how many beats per 60 seconds. This is a proportion problem, actually a harder problem than you've seen so far, but it is a preview of the ratios and proportion problems that we will be working on in my later videos. But the question here I will ask is, how many times does 20 seconds go into 60 seconds? Or what is 60 divided by 20? Again, the 0 in the dividend cancels with the 0 in the divisor, which gives me an easier equation to work with, 6 divided by 2, which equals 3. So 20 seconds times 3 equals 60 seconds. So then logically, we can see that if we multiply 25 beats by 3, we will figure out how many times our heart beats in 60 seconds. 25 times 3, I do that calculation on the side, and that works out to be 75. So if my heart beats 25 times in 20 seconds, then it will beat 75 times in 60 seconds, or 75 times per minute. I write that down as a sentence. The heart beats 75 times per minute. Think about it. Does that make sense for this problem? Yes, it does. I box my answer. The exercises for this lesson are found on page 20 of the Beginning Algebra book. Please do as many problems as you need to get a firm grasp of the material, and please check your answers with those in the back of the book to make sure you did the problems correctly.
I hope this video was useful for you. Thank you for joining me at Do the Math America.